We finally have a lot of footage of the settlement in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where we'll be spending a ton of time. I want to show you multiple things that I saw and also learned about thanks to my interviews with the developers on the game, including about us being able to visit new worlds. And we can of course go to the mythical lands and fight mythical creatures. Still kinda surprised by that, but I'm really excited about it. I also need your help, by the way, because Eric, the game director, teased something related to Sargon or a Rita type of system, so I need your takes. Let's get into it. A like on the video would really help the channel out. And let's go. As you likely know, I'm doing an October giveaway for a 2020 game of your choice. Dashin won my September giveaway and chose Valhalla. So if you want to participate in my new giveaway, click the link in the pinned comment and be sure you are a subscriber of the channel before you enter, and good luck. The first thing I did in the settlement was pet a dog who came up to me and then make a Jomsviking who you will take with you on raids. As I mentioned in my hands-on impressions, the amount of customization wasn't that impressive, like you just hit one button to change the character, but they are looking at this feature as a sort of long-term thing. So I totally expect to see more customization options post-launch. And what is interesting about this, and players will actually not know about this, is that when you create a Jomsviking, it will actually be uploaded to the cloud so that other people can then recruit them and use them in their own team. Or you can also go to the barrack in your settlement and recruit the characters from your friends. And if you then use them, or if your Jomsvikings are used, you will get money for the raids they went on, which is pretty nice. In the play session, we had a settlement on level 3 out of 6. And at the start, I only had enough resources to upgrade one building, and I decided to upgrade the cartographer. That first only had a tent and noted in a conversation that he needed a workshop to sell me maps of special places. So I thought that sounds interesting, so let's spend the resources that I got from raiding on this building. And actually every time you upgrade a building, you will also get a look at your whole settlement after this particular upgrade. So now I could talk to the cartographer and he let me buy 4 types of maps of the Leicestershire region. Every region has wealth, as we see in the world map as well, and when exploring that region you will see the wealth indicated by the yellow glows when, for example, scouting the area with your bird soon in. And one way to have these dots appear is by getting few points, but I actually also encountered an NPC who could give me some intel on a special location in exchange for money. So that's another way to learn about some things that you would otherwise maybe have missed. But the cartographer is really focused on wealth, at least in this early stage. So if you plan on getting all the yellow dots in a region, then these maps aren't that useful. But if you only care about getting gear, then totally buy these maps for 35 silver a piece and just focus on going to those locations. Or there are maps for abilities, for example, resource for your settlement, and also ingots that you can use at the blacksmith. And I will go more in depth on the blacksmith, by the way, in another video. But you could also just watch my videos when Valhalla comes out and then get the weapons that way. It will save you a lot of silver. No, but there are many things that you can buy for silver, like money is going to be very valuable in this game. Like there's a dedicated merchant in our settlement that gives us new tattoos, hairstyles or weapons, and who shared the same inventory as a merchant I would then later encounter in Leicestershire. So I'm kinda curious how the shop feature will work, because you would imagine that maybe per different territory the vendor has different things for sale, right? Could not try that yet, but that's what I'm currently thinking. You can also buy runes in the shop that you can then put on weapons and gear to get a nice stat boost, but likely better runes are earnable at the fishing hut. Upgrading this gives you access to the fishing line, so in order to fish, you likely have to upgrade this building first. And if you catch particular fish, you can then exchange them for special runes. And I actually like how it's noted on the card of the fish in what region you can catch them. And here you see it being exchanged for a new ship cosmetic that you can then apply at the shipyard. Not a lot was available yet in my play session, but again, there will be many options in the final game. We actually already saw that briefly in that deep dive trailer. And we also saw that the ultimate pack included some ship cosmetics, and we will likely see more of these naval packs post-launch. And I actually also know what the settlement pack now is. There are namely special locations inside the settlement where you can put like a random statue or other structure, and I'm sure we will get a ton in the main game, and then they will add more post-launch, and you can actually like put multiple of the same statue in different locations if you want. So I totally skipped over a lot of other things we can find in the settlement that I want to go more in depth on in future videos, one of them being the Hidden Ones Bureau, of course, very interesting stuff. But now I want to go to something else that is very interesting, that you maybe already noticed in that deep dive trailer, namely that we can go to new worlds. Yes, America, or then called Finland, will be in Valhalla. We can travel there through the settlement, so not much else is known right now. We also have this image of America, but I learned a little bit more about it. So at one point in the main story, somebody will join our settlement that will then allow us to go to America or Finland. So we will have to play through the main story to get at this point. And Eric, the game director that I was able to interview about this, noted that it wasn't really optional, but more like a parallel track that then opens up. Very interesting. Like, we already have the huge map of England, Norway, where we start the game, still no real gameplay of that yet, and then these special zones like Finland. And on top of that, we got Asgard and Jotunheim that we talked about before, but we can actually visit those realms earlier in the game because those are like based on your settlement level. So if you focus on raiding and upgrading your settlement, then you can buy the Seer hut pretty early on. Like again, my settlement in the demo was level 3 and I already had a paper from Randvi saying, hey, buy the Seer's hut. So after unlocking this location, you can talk to Valka, the Seer, and then start the so-called Vision quest that will take you to these realms and where we will have to fight the Frost Giants and also Fenrir, that big mythical creature. And we now got a good look at this enemy. He seems quite large, but then also in other shots more manageable, likely when we actually fight him. And what is interesting about this is that this will likely be the end game content for Valhalla. I've asked a couple of times about repeatable stuff, but so far raids I know cannot be done again. The Selot enemies that I will talk about more in a future video, these roaming bosses, are comparable to the Villaki bosses, so when you kill them, they are gone. But the mythical creatures should actually be repeatable. They should be hard to take out, but there should eventually be a way to try them again. And that's awesome, because in Odyssey, we of course had these awesome fights. They were kind of too easy, and then, yeah, you could never fight them again. Like, the post-launch is still a big piece of the puzzle that we're missing at this point, but the settlement seems like a perfect place for a Sargon or Rita-like character that has like a weekly selection of items that we can buy, and maybe a Heka chest or Olympian gift, so we can try and get some of the Helix items. So I asked Eric about a similar feature. Can we expect a Sargon-like character in Valhalla? And this is what he said.
So you will have good surprises. It's the only thing that I can say.
Okay.
And you will see, you know, a similar element, but we had a funny twist around it. So
Okay.
we'll let you discover this, you know, into the game.
Okay.
But we play a lot, you know, with, you know, the game need to be immediately accessible for newcomers. Like, they don't need to play the previous opus of the game. But we do a lot of, you know, a link or a lot of, sometimes of humoristic, you know, tie-in, you know, with previous game. So, so everything which is part of the past game, you know, has some kind of reflection into the game, for sure.
Okay, I can't wait to see what you guys came up with then. So will it be connected to Rita or Sargon in some way? His quote kinda makes me think that that is the case, but your theories are more than welcome in the comments down below. And when we know more about the post-launch, I will of course let you know here on the channel. So totally subscribe for everything on Assassin's Creed Valhalla if you haven't already. A like on the video would really help the channel out. And I want to thank everyone for all the support on my second channel, Raptor Roll Gameplay. Growing insanely fast. I just put up new settlement raw gameplay as well that you can watch by clicking on the screen if you want to check it out. For now, I will speak to you next time, and goodbye.